Hello, everyone. As the wonderful pictures of our beautiful campus fade away, I would like to welcome you all here this evening. My job is very short, but it's wonderful to be able to introduce to you one of our alumni. This evening, we have Nnamdi Onyekwere, an ex-student from our MSc Finance programme. It's always great to welcome back our past students, and I would like to thank Nnamdi for giving up his time to chat with us tonight. I will also welcome Geeta Lakshmi. Geeta is the programme leader of the MSc Finance programme. Nnamdi was a February start student from last year, and the great news is that he has already secured employment. Geeta has often spoken very highly of Nnamdi, and I'm sure it will all give us all great pleasure to listen to him discuss about how he actually managed to enter the world of work. This is always a key question for many of our graduates. I'll now hand over to Geeta, who will chat to Nnamdi and ask him the questions which I imagine many of you would like to ask. Geeta and Nnamdi, over to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Nnamdi, it's so nice to see you back because we bid farewell to you some time ago. At least I haven't seen you actively in the classroom, and you have been finishing off your dissertation. But you, as Siobhan identified, you joined us in February last year, which was a very difficult time for a lot of students because we were just opening up for a degree, and I think for a long time, the campus had been in lockdown. So yours was one of the few faces which we actually welcomed on a face-to-face version. And I'm so happy having taught you that it's been such a pleasure to see the small and select group, which we had last year, flourish. And you are one of our best, Nnamdi. So a great thank you to you and a warm welcome. Nnamdi, I've requested.
Happy to be here.
That's
Okay.
wonderful. Nnamdi, I requested you to come here, which is very nice of you to accept that, because I know a lot of people have questions about the degree, the program, life in UK, and how you manage to keep on top of everything. So perhaps we'd like to start by introducing yourself in fuller detail. I know I've spoken of your name, but tell us about your background.
Okay. Prior to the master's program in Lincoln, I used to work in a commercial bank, so I have over 6 years commercial banking experience, and I also did my first degree in accounting prior to coming to Lincoln. So I chose Lincoln University because I was looking for a quiet place to study and not as busy as London. That was one of the reasons I chose the city. And for the school, when I checked the models, and also one other key factor was the Lincoln Student Managed Investment Funds, because when I wanted to come for a master's degree, I wanted a course, I wanted a school that would give me transferable skills. So something different from what I was used to already at a commercial bank. And I felt that Lincoln will give me that opportunity, and it's been great. And everything I've been able to learn, or what I learned from school, has helped me in my job search, and it has also helped me in the job as I've started.
Brilliant. So tell us a little more about the job you've started, or, which ones have you? I understand you were offered some positions and you had some interviews. So can you describe when you started applying for them? What have you settled in for?
Okay. Presently I work as a business advisor for financial services company. So basically helping small businesses access debt financing. Basically that's what I do in a nutshell. But prior to accepting the offer, I started applying for jobs last year. last year, August, in the summer.
So practically just about 4 or 5 months after coming here, you were already on to applying early and getting your CV sorted.
Yes, because the thing about job search is it can be very daunting, so you have to start early, and that's why I started doing summer. So I started applying for roles that were going to start after I graduate. So I had an Excel sheet. I applied for over 500 roles plus.
Wow,
Yeah,
500 roles.
yeah,
So you've already identified two things which have, I mean, I think which two things which you've said is that start early
yes,
and don't get daunted because you have a lot to go through. So be resilient. That's two things which I think I'm sensing um, from your your tips which are coming across. Is that correct?
yes. That's correct. Cause if I didn't start early, I probably would still be searching for till date. Cause I had the opportunity to go to several interviews to build my confidence, and I also, like, there were so many things I did. Like, when I felt maybe my CV wasn't giving me the right response, the university has a careers department, sort of. So I visited that place like several times to sort out my CV for interview preps, and to get certain tips on job search. So I made use of all the facilities the school had to help me search for jobs. Then I also did my own research online. The first thing I had to do was to identify the sector where I wanted to work and the kind of roles I wanted to take up. So that helped me streamline what to apply for. So I made use of every service. LinkedIn is very important because that's why I was able to apply for a lot of jobs, because I could easily go on LinkedIn with my phone before I sleep and apply for like 10, 5 jobs before I go to bed. So
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's a very good strategy, I must say.
yeah, it's very interesting, but sometimes it can be, should I say, stressful and disappointing when you think you've done really well in an interview. I remember there was a week I got several rejection emails, and I decided that I had to give myself a break. But it was an interesting experience, and I'm glad I actually did start early.
Yeah, so there's lots of helpful tips there that, if I can summarize, start early, um, be prepared to go through several jobs. In fact, you specifically said almost 500. Do this daily if possible.
Yeah.
Don't give up, and constantly refine yourself using areas like the careers team here and tailoring your CV.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned that you found LinkedIn was a very good place to start. So I assume your profile was already on LinkedIn.
Yes, I had the LinkedIn profile before. So what I had to do was refine, kind of optimize my LinkedIn account to make it more visible to recruiters. So sometimes I get recruiters sending me emails. Sometimes I have to apply myself. So the main thing is just to make sure you're able to describe your skills in your CV and also in LinkedIn. And I would say also a lot of things we did in the seminars and in our modules were helpful. Even some of the tasks I did with Elsmith were also helpful. I remember I went for an interview. Even though I didn't get the job, when I asked for feedback, one of the feedbacks was that they were really, really amazed, and they loved the equity research report that we did in our coursework and with L. Smith. So that was the standout point for them. Because coincidentally, one of the reports I did, that was one of the companies they had their highest holdings in. So they really wanted to see what was in the report. So a lot of things we do in class and even some of the extracurricular activities we do are really helpful.
So the corporate report you're talking about is often used in our corporate finance module. Is that the one which you're talking about?
Yes.
So it's part of the coursework we use to get you to do some real life research on the actual company which you choose, and you have to identify the valuation of the company and the
Yes.
factors around it. So it's as if you are you're an equity analyst trying
Yes.
to get some information. And this is also linked to, Nnamdi, if I'm correct, this is also linked to the LSMIF, which is, and I just want to elaborate a little bit for the benefit of users, that we have a fund here which is run by students, and it's called the LSMIF fund, Lincoln Student Managed Investment Fund. And it's one of the highlights of the university because very few universities have this fund. And we encourage students to become part of the fund, but we also link our coursework, which is what you're talking about, Nnamdi, to the fund directly, so that it's not like a huge burden, but they're all interlinked. Am I correct in my?
Yes. Yes,
So
you're really correct.
so what you used as a company was coincidentally something which interested you, but also interested your prospective employers, because they were impressed that you were doing some real life research.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So is there anything else which you felt was very crucial to your seminar or your subjects which you studied, which was of benefit or direct relevance to what you did? I mean, you've named the equity research as one of the factors. Anything else which you think you'd like to identify?
Most of our course works because prior to when I came to when prior to when I came for my master's, the style of writing, my style of writing was different, so I had to adapt. I remember when I first came, I asked a lot of questions,
Yeah.
like what is expected or how is this supposed to be done, because I wanted to get it right, and I
Yes.
believe that helped me and gave me more confidence. Because when you're doing those courseworks, you also have to research, you have to check information, and for for my course, which was finance, you have to be abreast of everything happening in the finance world. You have to check, you have to be able to read Financial Times, Yahoo Finance, all those, all the different financial news, because you need them. You can't say you're studying finance and you don't keep yourself abreast of all the happenings in the finance world. And I believe that also helped and translated in my job search, because sometimes I go for interviews and it's more like a discussion. So we're discussing about maybe this is what happened to a certain company. The news just came out like 10 minutes ago and I saw it on my phone before I got into the interview. So we're discussing about that, and it makes it easier and everything relaxed. Everything becomes relaxed and it's easier to discuss in the interview. So, for my advice to students is always like just be abreast of whatever is happening in the industry, whatever course you're studying, or whatever industry you like to work in. Just try and keep yourself abreast with what's happening and what's happening in the economy of the country you want to work in.
That's a great tip, Nnamdi, because what you've highlighted is, apart from the textbooks which we use, you should also be keeping track of what's happening around you through newspapers, and particularly Financial Times, which we offer free to all the students. Um, and just learning about what's happening so that it becomes a point of discussion. So somebody has asked a question. Would you tell us a little bit about your current job?
Okay, I presently work as a business advisor in a financial services company. So, what we do is to analyze small businesses and help them access debt financing. So, we help them with their business plans, their sales forecast, and their cash flow forecast. So, from my master's in Lincoln, it made it easier for me to analyze those financial information, because we did a lot of financial analysis. We did a financial reporting course,
Yeah.
And also, so we had it has made it easier for me to understand several reports that I look at, and also the courseworks has also helped me to be able to analyze the business plans. We did international macroeconomics, and when you're writing a business plan, you're going to talk about the economy, the market which you're about to enter into, and I feel that course also helped me to be able to understand certain things I'm doing right now. Even with my own previous experience in banking, all that coupled together with all the courses in corporate finance and every other course we did, it made it easy to understand all the financial information and every text in the business plan.
Yeah, so you've named some interesting courses which we do here. And in the accounting course, we do financial reporting, which we start from scratch. And basically, we link together how accounting affects the financial world. And of course, there's high on terminology, ethics, and what's going around you. That's one of the courses you named.
Yeah,
And then on the other extreme, you have the economics side of it. So, with starting from the focus on accounting and within a company, you also explore the idea of the economy around you through international macroeconomics, which of course sets the setting for any business, because businesses don't work in vacuums, and how the macroeconomic events affect the business is what you were doing there effectively. So,
yeah.
is that the coursework you were talking about, which was interesting? You talked in the coursework, you talked a little bit about corporate finance, of course, equity research.
Yes.
Any other coursework you remember, Namdi, which was interesting or intriguing?
Uh, yeah, most of the courseworks, because I really enjoy like know searching for things. So when I don't know something, I enjoy like trying to get the information, and the courseworks actually helped. Um, I remember the portfolio analysis coursework that we did. That was a very interesting one, but it was really great because I had a friend in another university in the UK that had a similar kind of coursework, and she had no idea on how to go about it. So, but from what I was able to learn from Lincoln, I was able to explain to her how to go about it. Like I've helped other people studying finance, like to explain certain things that they don't understand. Because one thing the university helped was that all the lecturers are always there to assist you. A few of the people in my class, some of them didn't have any finance background, but they were able to scale through because everything was broken down to them by the lecturers. But some other universities, you don't have the opportunity. I've been opportunity to listen to someone's a class of my friend online, and it was different, and I was confused. I told her that thank God I didn't go to your university because it would have been difficult for me. But yeah, so uh, Lincoln was able to break down a lot of complex um, subjects for us. So and that made it easier for everyone.
I'm very glad you said that, Namdi, because that's one of the things we deliberately try to do. I mean, we are a new university compared to a lot of old established universities, which are the Russell Group universities. But we take a lot of pride in trying to give you that level of knowledge and yet start from the very basics so that we are able to help every kind of student, but to be able to match competitors from other universities so that none of our students go away feeling that they have been taught less in any way. Um, and I'm glad that you felt that you were supported. Our staff, of course, is very helpful. And would you like to elaborate on some of the stuff you enjoyed? Maybe if you're welcome to use names. I'm sure nobody's going to mind, but otherwise, even the lecturers, I mean, what did you like about them?
I like that they were always willing to help. During my dissertation, Dr. Chow was very helpful.
Yeah.
She guided me on the dissertation, and also I think another important thing also for students is when you're choosing your dissertation topic, it's best to choose something relevant. Um, like for me, as an example, my dissertation was on cryptocurrencies, and it's something that is still relatively new and people are still trying to understand. It was like a talking point for me in my interviews, because I had some of the interviewers saying, "Oh, when you're done with your dissertation, I would like to hear what you came, what was the conclusion and everything." So it was like an icebreaker. So
Yeah.
sometimes we deviate from the whole purpose of the interview to discuss about my dissertation. So it's also an important topic when you're. It's very important to choose a topic that is very relevant when you're writing your dissertation. Then
So that's a good tip, because what you're saying is that choose a dissertation which is something which is new and current,
yeah,
like crypto, which you used. But obviously, we have to get data on it before you want to write something reliable. So it's that
definitely,
it's getting uh, the right balance between a new topic but enough data that you can analyze it,
yes,
and then also you can also use it as an icebreaker with your employer. So
definitely.
what was your dissertation, if you don't mind my asking? What was your exact topic?
Okay, so it was studying the efficiency of cryptocurrency prices. So I chose Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Theta. So I was checking if the prices were efficient. So
Okay, so you use, yes, so do they respond to new news?
exactly, yes. So testing the efficient market hypothesis on cryptocurrency prices, basically. That was my topic.
And did you find that they were responding to new news?
So, from my conclusion and data, it showed that the market wasn't efficient. So,
Very
the
interesting.
information takes time to be priced into to reflect on the prices, so people can make outrageous profits from cryptocurrencies. And we see it every time. Today, you can make 30%. Tomorrow, you lose 50%. So, the market is not efficient from the
Okay,
data available.
so that's very interesting that you chose an interesting topic, and of course you've mentioned your supervisor who gave you a lot of support and help in that, because dissertation is a point of independent study.
Yeah.
So while you choose the topic, and the supervisor can guide you there, you are making the decisions yourself. Is that correct,
Oh,
Nnamdi?
definitely. So, basically every decision was made myself. What the supervisor is there to do is to guide you. So I can tell my supervisor, "Oh, I'm heading in this direction with my dissertation. Do you think is the right approach?" And she will give her suggestions, and I go back and I check it if it's okay or if I have other suggestions. So her what she did was to just direct me, and she did a good job at that. But it was mostly an independent study, because no supervisor is going to help you to run any of your analysis.
Yeah. So the dissertation is done right at the end, and by that time you have the tools through coursework and through presentations you've already done to put together a extended piece of work, and this is more on your own steam. So that's what you are highlighting in this.
Yes, so a lot of the so all the modules build up to your dissertation. So what the knowledge you pick up from those modules will help you in your dissertation. Like in finance, you're going to do a lot of statistical use a lot of statistical formulas there, and we did econometrics, which was really helpful.
Okay.
Yes, and econometrics is something I didn't have much knowledge of before I came to the university. But with that course, I was able to run some econometric modules in my dissertation, so it was helpful. Also, things I learned in portfolio analysis, like the efficient market hypothesis, it piqued my interest more when I was doing portfolio analysis. So that was why I went that route for my dissertation, and several other several other things, or um, several other topics I discussed in the dissertation were from the modules which we did in the course.
I remembered, Namdi, because we had a discussion when, um, I thought for a minute you are definitely coming from a different country, and there are so many things which seem so different, and
Yeah.
things which are like efficient market hypothesis where the market reacts quickly. These often don't happen so much in other markets. And I remember we had this passionate discussion between us how things are different in different countries,
Yes.
and how so you could bring in some unique perspectives in that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Namdi, there's a question on the screen. Can you please share some on the stages before you eventually got the job? So if you can go through your job search in slightly more detail. I know you told us about the how you applied, but if you can elaborate on that, please. And that question is coming from Ademola.
Okay. I said, like I said previously, it's best to start early because it will give you the opportunity to build your confidence and also adjust, work on certain aspects which you feel you're not strong at. So for me, for the stages, my course started in February, but in summer I started applying. That's from August I started applying, and I started applying for roles that were going to start after I graduated. So is the the best thing, you use different platforms. You can use I'm going to mention several platforms I use.
Please.
You can use Indeed, you can use LinkedIn. You can search companies which you're familiar with, that you would like to work in, and check their vacancies if they have any. And there are also other job sites like Total Jobs, and you can also make use of agencies. So agencies will also help you to to maximize your search, so you'll be able to at least have a cast a wider net if you use agencies, because agencies have a lot of clients and they can easily call you and interview you for a job and recommend you to a client. So I made use of all those platforms, but LinkedIn was very, very important because that was where I applied for most of my jobs. So I just had to put in the type of job, the location, if I wanted only remote roles or if I wanted full-time jobs. So the best thing is to maximize all those platforms, and if you can apply every day, it's fine, because the thing is job search is daunting, and there are a lot of people. There's a lot of competition in the job market, so you have to apply for enough roles. I was even surprised I was able to apply to a lot. There was a time I stopped even recording how the jobs I was applying for, because it was a lot and I couldn't keep myself up to date with the Excel sheet. So the most important thing is to start early and also make use of all the tools you have in the school to make your CV better and to also prepare yourself for interviews. The careers team in the school, you can go for interview preps. They can give you materials you can use to prep for interviews, because I know I visited there several times even before my interviews. So just make use of every facility the school has to prepare yourself. You can also get your friends to interview you before an interview, and by the time you know, your confidence will be building, and you'll
Yeah.
be getting more responses, and you'll even be getting to the final stages or even further stages in the application process.
So Namdi, just to check with you again, because you've said some very interesting things. Just you came from Nigeria, is that correct? And you hadn't studied in UK before.
No, I haven't. No, I don't.
So that was very commendable that you've come from a very different environment, and to find your feet so quickly, which is why I think you're trying to emphasize that you need to start quickly, because there is so much to learn and so much to do. um, Even if you are local here, the job market is um, really competitive, and when you are trying to deal with the excuse me, I'll just adjust my mic here. So the job market is so competitive that you need to be competing with all those graduates who are trying to get the jobs. But it's commendable that as an international student, you have managed to land on your feet. And of course, your zeal is to be appreciated, your zeal and determination. That is brilliant. So I think one of the big takeaways, which I'm going to tell my students, is don't give up, start early and don't give up. It's perseverance.
Yes, definitely.
Very nice to hear, Namdi. So what are the plans? Where's your job taking you?
I'm looking at growing in the financial sector. Because if you also look at my history, I haven't deviated from finance. So I intend to take up professional exams to help me also grow in the sector. I already have. I'm already registering for some of the exams already, so I'm looking at taking those as soon as possible. Just trying to improve myself.
Brilliant, because I think a lot of our modules map to the CFA, the Certified Financial Analyst. So,
Yes.
so that is something. And while we are trying to, they actually match the modules quite a bit. So that's a very good idea. Um, so we have another question which has come up on the screen. How soon can someone start applying for jobs? Is there some legal thing or something? You came here in February
Yes.
2021, which is last year.
Yes,
That's
I
when
did.
yeah. And so when you say you started applying in August, do you think you could have applied a bit earlier?
Um, if you look at the way employment comes about, like in August is when most of those roles, maybe the graduate roles for the next year start trooping in. Most of them you get them in December, January also. But the perfect time, like I said, for, like if you're starting in February, the perfect time would be summer because also you've had time to settle down in school, so you don't also bug yourself with job search and you also have school work. So, but you also have to find a way to balance everything also. But the best time is to start early, 5 months before, like 5 months before you graduate is better. 5 6 months, you apply for jobs that will start after you graduate because if you go for an interview, some people want you to start immediately. So you need to also look out for that. And also, when you're a student, you cannot work full time except the job is willing to take you to work within your visa requirements. If not, just wait till you're done when you can work full time and you can be able to transition into full time employment.
In fact, you got your job just before the results were declared, I think.
Yes, yes. So what I did was I gave them a time when I knew that I would have been done with everything, my dissertation and my results confirmed and
Yeah, so that you can have that full set of results to show to your employer.
yeah,
Um, but it's always good to start early because you get some practice also. And
yes.
employers know you are hitting a certain target of graduation. But in the meantime, the knowledge which you have is enough to start talking, being able to talk at interviews. When was the first interview you got, Namdi? Do you remember?
Um,
500 jobs. So no pressure.
I don't think I can remember. I know I had some. I did some online tests. Some I didn't pass through the first stage. Some I got to the third stage. So it was a mixture of tests and interviews. Some you get to the last stage, you don't pass the last stage. So sometimes it's very disappointing. You do the first test, the next thing you don't pass the first test. You do some, you get to the last stage of the test and you don't pass. But my first interview, I think, was online. um but I think the role wanted me to start as soon as possible. But when I explained to them that I was still in school and and I don't finish till like February, uh, I couldn't go further in the application process. So that's why it's best to look for roles that will start after when you graduate.
But that is very confidence boosting that you were actually considered even before you finished everything, you know. So that must have given you a great boost of confidence. And also that I think that gives you some motivation to do the work, whatever is left, very well.
Yeah, another thing was that, okay, I know prior to before the program, I already had some experience already, but that was a different economy, a different working environment than the UK. But I think another thing that helped me was because I looked for things I could do that could give me transferable skills, like the Lincoln Student Managed Investment Fund, which I joined as a financial analyst, so that was in my CV also. Then I also joined another. I did another voluntary role. So I wrote about two articles for financial blog that I
Very good.
joined. Yeah. So that was also in my CV. So uh, it showed recruiters that at least I was proactive and I could manage my time properly, because some of them asked me, how did you do all this with your schoolwork?
Yeah.
But I just had to explain to them that I had to manage my time properly and make sure all my tasks did not intersect, and it was good. So I think people, it's important for people to look for, um, even if it's a group or whatever, voluntary role they can take up to boost their employability, to get those transferable skills. So if you're in finance, it's very important. I would advise that you should join the Lincoln Student Managed Investment Fund. Like, it really helpful, and it helped me because before we got to the equity research in corporate finance, I had an idea of what I needed to do. So it was easier for me than any other person that wasn't in Elsmith.
So what you're saying is that actually doing the practical experience helped you in your assignments as well.
Yes.
And of course the assignment fed also into the practical, so there's a connection both ways. It's not just, you know, not just linear going from one to the other, but it's actually interrelated.
Oh, definitely. Like, even the L. Smith also even touched financial reporting, portfolio analysis, corporate finance, because you would do some ratio analysis, and in financial reporting, we had different classes on ratio analysis. So everything is interlinked. So it helps you in every way.
And we usually pride in keeping our students busy, Namdi. So I'm very impressed because I know students are given a lot of tasks. We try not to make them too daunting, but we keep people pretty busy in the masters, and there are deadlines which are coming up, which we do tell you in the start, but then nonetheless you have to juggle them.
Yes.
And so you could manage to do all that with job hunting.
Yeah.
Did you make friends at Lincoln?
Oh, definitely. Where for my class, we're basically all we're all friends. We communicated with each other a lot, and sometimes we go out for drinks and coffee. I also made other friends in Lincoln, people that went to university and also outside the university. So Lincoln is a great town, quiet, good for study. It's a very quiet place.
That's Very nice to hear, Nnamdi. It's so nice that you have people here and they're happy here and they flourish. That's what we all like to see. So it's been very nice to have you. It is now 40 minutes past 5. And I wonder if there are any other questions coming up. Otherwise, we will wrap up in 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Yes,
Um, I think it is so nice to hear from you. And so are you now in London or are you still in Lincoln?
no, at the moment, I have left Lincoln.
Okay, so you've left Lincoln, yeah.
Yes.
So, but the friendships which you've made and the connections you've made, you're going to keep up with them?
Oh, definitely. I think one thing about me is I always keep relationships. Like I still talk to a lot of my friends in primary school, some of them in high school. Like we still relate. So when I make friends, I like to keep those relationships.
So that's good. So social skills are very important along with finance.
Definitely,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
that's some you've given up some very nice tips today, Nnamdi, and I thank you very much for your time. It's
Um,
been such a pleasure welcoming you here, and I know we hope to call upon your expertise more in the future, but we are very grateful that at this busy juncture in time, you have managed to find some time to come and say, do this for us. And we hope to hear again from you soon. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day and a great evening.
yeah,
And bye
thank
bye,
you.
everybody.
Yeah,
And thank
thank
you
you
for,
for having me. Have a great evening.
yeah, thank you for tuning in. And we are going to close up now. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, bye.